What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.
We have
Dangerous times, don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world and keep the sky in your mind.
As always, everything we discuss is for entertainment and is speculation. Please like and subscribe, and definitely join our discussion in the comments. If you're ready, let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Typically Unique. I hope everybody's having a great morning. Rise and shine, everybody. I mean, it's like late morning here. It's almost noon, but I just finished my couple cups of coffee. Hi, Leah Story. Good to see you. Hi, Tomboy. I have a case that you suggested for today, Tomboy. Thank you. And oh my gosh, what a deep dive that was. Yeah, 11 o'clock here too. Yep. And we finally got the snow that they have been predicting for like 5 days. Our weather stations do this to us all the time. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if I would call it gaslighting, but last week they were saying we were like right on the cusp of like 5 to 10 inches of snow or like all the way up to 20 inches of snow. I was like, oh my gosh. And I kind of thought that might happen because we got blasted last year at this time. So we got nothing at that time. I could still see the grass. So once they do that, then you don't believe them. So we got a few inches overnight. They did cancel schools around here. Schools got canceled. It started snowing after midnight. It's still coming down. So we'll see what we end up with. And tomorrow, Wednesdays, I do my walk and talk. So it might be a winter wonderland walk tomorrow. I don't know what our temperature is. It's cold. It's cold enough to snow. So we will see. Just wanted to share some life updates first. So a lot of you know that I was not on the air last week because we were dealing with some health concerns with Carlos. And if you saw our last video, he's okay. We're back. We are recording again together. And I just wanted to share kind of like a public service announcement. So Carlos went to the doctor for just a, regular ailment, like a cold flu type thing, and ended up, because his doctor checked him out, discovering something else. And it turned out it was something that a lot of people have. It's called AFib, and it's just like an irregular thing with your heart, but people live with it. People are walking around with it right now and don't know about it. But the thing I wanted to share with you is if you have a smartwatch, an Apple Watch, something like that, and you have that health data, Carlos didn't have it connected, and I got to check mine. I don't know if I have mine connected either, but it will warn you of things like that. So someone in the hospital told him, one of the doctors, and because he saw that Carlos had his watch on, and the doctor's like, it didn't alert you. And he found out he didn't have it connected. So once he did, boom, it popped up. And that would have been nice to know before. So I'm sharing that with all of you so you can stay safe out there. Oh, hi, Tipsy Tater Tot. I love that name. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. So, you have to take medications and keep an eye on it and things like that. But I'll just tell you, it didn't really slow Carlos down. He's a trooper when it comes to things like that. So he's doing good. We're back into our routine, and here we are. Um, I wanted to share with you guys. I don't know if Skull's in here yet. I think he was live right now showing some of his music, but you guys know Skull Mackay and all the videos that he puts out. He made one for me and Carlos. So I don't know if you guys have seen this one yet, but I want to show it. And I love all the videos that he puts out whenever there's a funny comment that comes up about the Idaho 4 case. I'm always like, Skull, there's your next video. There's your next song you need to make. And we were talking about the knives in, how Hunter was carrying the kitchen knife. And then Emily said, beep, beep, Lucy. See, there's a song. Did Skull make a beep, beep song yet? He needs to do that. And then Emily said she saw the knife on the steps, and we were discussing that in our chat yesterday when I premiered our video. And I immediately, and people were saying, oh, there's walking knives, right? The knives are just hopping around the house. So, Skull, when you hear this, we need like a walking knives, dancing knives around the house video. But let me show you. Now, if you get cringed out by public displays of affection, you might get a little irked by this video. But it's cute, and I love the time period that he set it in and the music. Let me see if I've got it. Yep, you can see it. All right. Look at us. I think the AI of me is close, but look at it. Looks exactly like Carlos. That is like spot on. Welcome everybody in. We're just going to listen to this real quick.
Come on over, dear, and gather around the screen.
Kim and Carlos will review the true crime scene.
They'll read through the documents and sift through the full proof on that Idaho 4 case. It's the heart of the truth. Kim and Carlos are the stars of this show, where they discuss and disagree as the evidence flows.
Culberger's guilty. Wait, let's read some more. It's an investigation. What are they looking for? They're a married couple discussing every clue on the cab bar knife details and the DNA too.
Kim and Carlos state good points,
And they ground each other well. A beautiful, peaceful manner. A story they tell. Kim and Carlos are the stars of this show, where they discuss and disagree as the evidence flows. Culberger's guilty. Wait, let's read some more. It's an investigation. What are they looking for?
she just hit her dozen.
That's a refreshing new view.
Tune in now to Typically Unique. They're seeking the truth.
All right. follow Skull Mackay if you are not already over there. Hello, Tony Stevenson. Good morning. Late morning for me over here. Lucy, you want to see a video depicting me and Carlos when we're talking about the case? Yeah, that would be an interesting one. Oh my gosh, that would be funny. Yeah, I love that video. He did a good job. It's funny they put me in a wedding dress because in our song we say married couple, so or in our show. Yeah, funny, funny, funny. All right. So, since I've started doing these weekly lives, I'm ferreting out a format that I want to follow. It takes some planning to do these things, especially when you're first starting it. I like to overly plan. I did that as a teacher. Like, if you have too much content, no problems. You just carry it over to the next time. But I always want to start the show off with like chatting with you guys, talking about life updates, things like that. Good morning, Paco Jewel. Good to see you. And then, so this morning I was looking up some trending topics, like what's trending right now. I went to Twitter. I went to just Google, like what stories. So just to give a quick little update today, what is trending today? So apparently at 2 p.m., the White House is going to give some kind of announcement. Something's coming today at 2 p.m. from the White House. I have a sneaking suspicion it might have to do with Venezuela. I don't know. Not sure about that. Not going to get into politics, but that is something that's happening today. Costco. I don't know if you guys shop at Costco. Drive like 50 miles to go there. I don't go often, but when I do, I load up. They are suing the government for the tariffs that were put in place. Something to have to do with that. So there's a lawsuit for that. I know a lot of you talk about Candace Owens and the Charlie Kirk case. And I saw a quick little, it was a tweet. She's supposed to be talking about, she thinks that France is involved somehow. Have you guys heard of that? And Lucy, I saw your banana comment. Are bananas trending? Bruised bananas trending now on Twitter. Apparently Brian was complaining about them. His latest complaint. Isn't it funny that they're only like releasing his complaints coming out of there? Like, come on. So Candace, France, and that she is claiming that there was an assassination attempt on herself. So I think that's a new thing that's coming out. Let me know if that's something she's already spoke about, but it looked like something she's going to be talking about today. And then the last thing, do any of you out there watch Stranger Things? The first 4 episodes of the last season dropped, and I already watched them all. It's really good. And if you didn't see Dago's live, it was a couple lives ago. His was it Saturday or Sunday night when he did his like weird and strange things? He kind of tied in the true story behind Stranger Things with real life events. It was really fascinating. So check that out. Yeah, I love Stranger Things. It's coming to an end, so we're going to find out what happens. All right. Today, I have a case that I'm going to share with you. And thanks to Tomboy, she was the one that suggested it, because every week I have been trying to find a case that has something in it that connects to the Idaho 4. So some other case. Past few weeks, we've been doing plea deals. This case also, it was not a plea deal. It's a wrongful conviction. And then looking at how the person ultimately gets this person ultimately gets fully exonerated. That doesn't always happen. The cases that I covered previously, the people they'll get out of jail, but they're still proclaimed guilty. That happens a lot. This case, this case is like all I thought of was a domino, like dominoes falling over from one person to another getting affected. So I made a little video to share the main details in the case. And then I have some updates about it and then connecting it to the Idaho 4. And then ultimately, my goal is to look at the DNA exhibits Q 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and 1.4. And I want to see what exactly it says in those reports, what DNA was on there. Because I keep hearing male mixtures and all of this. But when Carlos and I were discussing this in our last video, I just released it yesterday, I pulled out a document and I was reading about Q1.4, which I thought was the blood sample. And it did not say anything about a male's blood being on there. It just said Maddie and Kaylee. So you can drop your thoughts in the comments right now. And I'm going to eventually get to that and look and see what exactly, because that whole ISP forensic document is not easy to sort through. When you're navigating on the computer, there's 2,500 and some pages, and scrolling through and finding what you want is not easy. I'm just going to look at your comments real quick. Hello, Sleuthy Sweetheart. Hello. I saw someone else in here. True Justice with Hannah D. Hello, hello. All right. So let me show you the case that we're going to talk about real quick. Where did I put it? Oh, it's down here. Okay, so I am going to see if this works. On June 13th, 1996, 18-year-old Angie Dodge didn't show up to work. Friends were concerned. She was responsible, reliable, and brand new to adult life. She had just moved into her own apartment on I Street in Idaho Falls. A coworker went to check on her. The moment the apartment door opened, the world changed. Inside the small bedroom, police found Angie deceased. She had been stabbed repeatedly, sexually assaulted, and left on the bedroom floor. There were signs of a violent struggle. But the most crucial detail, they found DNA, a clean, solid sample, male. And it matched no one in police databases. No forced entry, no signs of robbery, no fingerprints that led anywhere. And that single male DNA profile, the strongest piece of evidence in the case. And ironically, the very thing that should have protected an innocent young man from being blamed eventually became the rope police tried to hang him with. At the time, Idaho Falls police were under intense pressure. A brutal murder, a terrified community, and no suspect. So they pulled in people from Angie's social circle. One was 19-year-old Chris Tapp, a friend of a friend, a kid who liked to party, and someone police believed might know something. Chris went in willingly, and then he underwent more than 100 hours of interrogation across multiple sessions. The tapes showed heavy psychological pressure, threats to Chris, shifting stories fed to him, polygraph failure claims, The read technique, that's an interview technique used aggressively, promises that if he just helped, everything would be easier. Chris, confused and overwhelmed, eventually confessed, but the confession became chaotic. His story changed based on what interrogations suggested or corrected. And the one thing that never changed, Chris Tapp's DNA did not match the crime scene. Not even close. Instead of accepting that, police invented explanations. He was there, but he didn't commit the assault. He held her down. He participated, but he didn't leave DNA. So, despite having a full male DNA profile that the real killer left, police charged Chris with the murder. He was convicted in 1998. A 20-year-old kid sentenced to 30 years to life, based solely on a confession with zero DNA tying him to the crime. Forensic science said one thing, the justice system said another. Meanwhile, that unknown male DNA remained stored in Idaho's database. It was uploaded to CODIS and the state and local systems. Years passed. No hits, no relatives, nothing. The DNA was so solid, so pristine, that many investigators later said it always felt like the DNA was screaming the truth, but nobody was listening. And then in 2014, the first big break came, but not in the way anyone expected. In 2014, Idaho Falls police turned to an unusual technique, familial DNA searching. This was before full forensic genealogy was legal or widely used. So investigators pulled a database from a completely different source. A DNA database run originally by a church genealogy organization. Inside it was a partial match to the unknown killer's DNA. That partial match pointed to the Usry family. And that's how Michael Usry Jr., a filmmaker from New Orleans, became the main suspect. So why Michael? He was the right age. He had traveled through Idaho once. He had created films containing violent scenes that were fictional, but police used it as behavioral evidence. He had absolutely no idea police were closing in. One day, detectives knocked on the family's door. Michael was told, "You're being investigated by the Angie Dodge murder." Imagine that, your entire life stopping in a single second. He agreed to give a DNA sample, confident it was all a misunderstanding. The results came back, and they were decisive. Zero link, zero match. He was completely excluded. Michael Usry was innocent. And yet, the unknown DNA remained. A ghost in the system, but technology was about to catch up. Even though Michael Usry was cleared, he vowed to help Angie's mom. Since he was a filmmaker, he decided to create a documentary about his own story. But after meeting Angie's mom and learning of the situation, he turned that documentary into more of a focus about Angie and trying to find the true killer. Through Angie's mom's perseverance, her own research about science and technology with DNA, and Michael's help, the Innocence Project was able to help to prove that the interrogation processes that were used were illegal. And ultimately, Chris Tapp was able to strike a deal to be able to get out of jail, but still proclaimed guilty. In 2018, the world of criminal investigation changed forever. The Golden State Killer was identified using a new tool, investigative genetic genealogy. Idaho Falls investigators desperately needed a breakthrough, so they contacted Cece Moore, a leading genetic genealogist. She took the unknown male DNA from the Angie Dodge scene and uploaded it to GEDmatch and Family Tree DNA, two platforms that allowed law enforcement to compare DNA to millions of people voluntarily participating in genealogy research. And finally, a lead, a real one. The DNA pointed to a small family tree in Idaho, and on that family tree, one branch stood out: the Drips family. Cece Moore identified the family, but it took her a lot of research to find that a divorced woman in the family had a child with a different last name to crack the case. Specifically, a man who used to live directly across the street from Angie Dodge, a man who lived there in 1996, a man whom police had spoken to back then, briefly, but never pursued. His name? Brian Lee Drips. Police set up surveillance. They waited, watched, followed. Eventually, Brian Drips discarded something. Reports vary between a cigarette butt or a piece of trash, but police collected it. Forensic scientists compared that discarded DNA to the DNA from Angie's crime scene. And then it was a perfect match. The match they had waited 23 years for. The probability was astronomical, far beyond the legal threshold. Brian Drips, who had long since moved to another part of Idaho, was arrested in 2019. When interrogated, he confessed. He said he acted alone, no accomplices, no Chris Tapp, no other attackers. He admitted he sexually assaulted and killed Angie Dodge in 1996. And with that confession and DNA match, the 2-decade mystery was over. The wrong man had been in prison. Another man had lived freely for years. And genetic genealogy was the tool that finally fixed everything. Chris Tapp had spent 22 years behind bars for a murder he didn't commit. In 2017, he was released, but he was still a convicted murderer. After Drip's confession in 2019, Chris finally received full exoneration. His name was cleared, his record wiped, his nightmare ended. It took changing interrogation laws, advancements in DNA, and IgG breakthroughs, as well as a growing public movement, decades of persistence, but truth finally had the last word. Oops, sorry, it took me a minute to hit the right buttons. Thanks for answering my poll. 90% of you said you hit the like button. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, so Chris Tapp confesses with a pristine sample of DNA that was not him. And they ended up, it took years for the right people to they had to watch the interrogation of him. He was interviewed 9 times in a week, I think. It was insane. They were able to prove, because it was mostly videotaped, that the police were threatening him. They were lying to him, which I know they're allowed to do, but the lies were tell us this and then you'll be okay and stuff like that. The case doesn't end here. There's lawsuits of I have some information to show you about what ended up happening to Chris Tapp. It is crazy. So let me see if I can find. Okay. So once they found the real person, that neighbor, they were able to actually exonerate Chris Tapp. So he gets exonerated and he gets out. I think they said 2019. He sues the state, and I think it was like $117 million or something like that. Like, it was millions. He gets out, he gets married. And I am sure that the state was not happy about 1.2. Yeah, I have some data for it. I have some data for what he actually got. So let's start with, whoops. What the Innocence Project had to say. So I think we're all hoping that the Innocence Project will get involved. Why does this always do this? Sorry, I'm trying to pull something up. No, go back. Okay, I got it. That the Innocence Project will get involved with Brian Kohberger with his case. So here's what the Innocence Project had to say about Chris Tapp. Is that showing up? Yep. Oops. I have so many tabs open. I'm like, which one is it? Okay. I'm getting to the update. I just think it's insane. And this is like the Kohberger case. Like, they have DNA, and I know Audrey has been making videos about the DNA, and like, they took the crappiest little sample of what they actually had to run it and say it's Brian Kohberger. And in this case, they had a pristine sample that they didn't even bother to try to connect it to anybody. Okay. July 17th, 2019, Tapp's murder conviction was vacated. All right. So he was exonerated. And that just says he sought money for, here it is, the payout. Here it is. I got it. Here's his payout. So he got, where's it at? Oh, here we go. Okay. So does this give the amount? Tapp's case is the latest in a string of costly payouts to exonerees who are wrongfully convicted after having been capitally prosecuted or threatened with the death penalty. So look at all these other people. Henry McCollum, Leon Brown, they got $75 million. The city of Cleveland, that's around here, $18 million. To Kwame Ajamu, Wiley Bridgman, Ricky Jackson. And then if you guys know the Beatrice 6, that's a really interesting case too. They got $28 million. Why didn't I highlight how much Chris Tapp got? All right, we'll come across it. But do you guys know what happened to Chris Tapp? He was, I think, in the process of divorcing his wife. So he gets out of prison and, he's exonerated. He's happy living his life. He gets married. He wins the lawsuit. So he's got money that he can live on. he was in the process of getting a divorce from his wife, and his wife dies in a vehicle accident. Then just in, I think it was November of 2023, Chris Tapp dies. And I'm going to show you a little clip about what happened to him, because his death, first it was ruled an accident, and then it was ruled a homicide. And the person who's responsible for his death is an interesting person. And that trial is going to be coming up this summer. So I am going to follow that case because I think it's really fishy that, someone who gets exonerated from the state, wins lots of money, ends up dead. That's probably another series we could do of how many people that happens to. Yeah, November 5th, 2023, thank you, is when his death was. Here it is. Okay. So I'm going to show this. Talk about this for a little bit, and then we'll get into the Idaho docs. But this is crazy. I can't see it. It's showing you a white screen. Let me do this. Stop. Remove. If I do this, I don't need to share that. Hold on. This isn't. This is what happens. I try to be prepared. Let me try the other one. All right, this one's working. This is his mom talking about what happened. Might have to suffer through an ad.
It was when he found his first support group.
The bravest thing she did is when she asked for help.
Don't wait, reach out.
That was no respect for me, no respect for my son.
And that is the mother of Christopher Tapp speaking publicly for the first time since he died in 2023. You are watching 8 News Now at 11. I'm Brian Loftus. Dan Rodheimer is accused of punching Tapp at a party inside a Resorts World hotel room, and authorities say that led to his death days later. The former congressional candidate and his lawyers appearing in court today to appeal a grand jury indictment. 8 News Now anchor Sasha Loftus joining us live in studio with Christopher's mother tonight in a story you'll only see right here on 8 News Now.
Yes, Brian, Vera Tapp says her son did not deserve what happened to him. Christopher was exonerated in 2019 after serving 20 years in prison for a murder he didn't commit. Now she wants her family to get justice after his death.
My son didn't deserve what he got.
Vera Tapp is still dealing with the loss of her son.
This is ridiculous. This should have never happened.
47-year-old Christopher Tapp died in November of 2023. Days after prosecutors say Dan Rodheimer punched him at a party inside Resorts World. The former congressional candidate and ex-wrestler charged with murder.
Mr. Beshear here on behalf of the state.
In court Thursday, appealing his grand jury indictment to the Nevada Supreme Court. Rodheimer's attorneys citing several factors, including their claim prosecutors showed a grand jury illegal evidence.
We know it's going to go on for another 6 months.
John Thomas, the Tapp family's attorney, describing the toll this latest development is taking.
So the delay is going to be tough for the family. We kind of went into this knowing that there would be some delays, that this would not be a fast track type trial.
But Vera says no matter how long this painful process takes, she's committed to seeing it through.
I'm not going away. I'm going to continue coming, and I'm going to continue trying to get justice for my son.
A man, she tells us, should still be here with her,
He was a human being. He was a kind-hearted person.
whose memory she'll always protect.
So all I want is the justice system to show respect for Christopher.
Now, Vera also filed a civil lawsuit against professional race car driver John Odom, who was reportedly there the night Christopher was hurt. The complaint, which also names Odom's company and Resorts World, claims Odom did not help Christopher and told others not to call security when he was injured. Brian.
At this time, John Odom, Dan Rodheimer's wife, Sarah, and others who reported to be at that party are not facing any criminal charges.
Surprise, surprise, not facing charges. So apparently Chris Tapp got really into road racing because, you know, he went to prison when he was 19, spends 20 years, he gets out. So he never had that like driving experience. So I guess he really latched onto that, and he wanted to join a racing team or own a racing team. I mean, he had money. So he was meeting with these people in Vegas, and something happened at that gathering. So there was Odom is the owner of a racing company that Chris was probably interested in, and then this Rodheimer, is that how they said his name? He was there, and he claims that Chris said something either inappropriate to this Rodheimer's daughter or offered her like cocaine or something. That's what they were claiming. But when whatever initially happened, they said Chris Tapp fell. He died from a fall. Like that was the initial story. He died from a fall because nobody at that party helped him, called for help, notified anybody like that anything had happened. And then once the medical examiner came out and changed the story that he died from like blunt force trauma, someone must have come out and started speaking and telling what really happened. And he got beat up. That's what happened. He got beat up. So, and that guy that beat him up is a former wrestler. So I think it's just crazy. It's a crazy case. When Carlos and I talk about the Idaho 4, we'll often talk about like how you would react if you were being falsely accused of something, and showing this video right now of Chris Tapp's mom and the way the mom is, how she was speaking out. Carlos will always, and I said that, like I would be screaming that I didn't do this, and I understand power and the threats and things like that, but I think Chris Tapp was probably facing some of that too, and his mom's out here. I'm sure there's powerful people that aren't happy about what's going on, and she's talking back. And you know, wouldn't it be nice if Brian's parents did that? If they spoke out? Somebody has to start speaking if Brian's in a situation that isn't just. Who do you guys think that person's going to be? Someone's got to speak out. Looking at the chat comments. Yeah, 11.7. That's the number I saw. Thank you, Sleuthy. Yes, 11.7 million is what he settled for. So, you know, Idaho's got quite a few cases like that. So, number one, that state is messing up some major cases. I mean, doing illegal things there. They had to make new interrogation laws because of the Chris Tapp case. Imagine the laws they might have to make new if anything comes out about the Brian Koberger case, right? Should have got him a lawyer. Yeah. Koberger's family should have got him a lawyer. Yeah. I agree. I agree. What does this say? I agree with that one. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I still think there's a connection there too. I still think there's a connection there. Somehow. I don't know how. Somehow. Hi, Witchy. Good to see you. Big Red Faye. Hello. Good to see you. BK's dad said, just wait until the truth comes out. Yeah. Is that what he said to the mom of Brian's former best friend? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't understand. Maybe someday we will know. Maybe someday. Okay, so I'm going to start with a document, ISP document. Let me find it. I got it right here. And so I have it in front of me, and I'm going to pull it up for you to see. Let me see. It would be, I don't want photos, reports. There we go. I'm going to share the report from the Idaho State Police of what they saw walking through the house. So this is the report number 32. Jeffrey Talbot report, I believe. Yes. And how he's going to describe walking through the house and everything he saw. Then we're going to compare that to the evidence list. Hi, Ro. And see if there's any discrepancies and what we can see from that. Tony, that is a good. So I love inquisitive, investigative type, like statements like you're making that can lead to something to research. So you're saying public defenders always make deals with the DA and the prosecution. I wonder if it's only public defenders. That's a good observation. I have been doing my research focusing on the prosecution because like 97%, somewhere around there, of prosecutors end in a plea deal. They offer a plea deal. So I'm wondering if that other 3 to 5% are people who hire their own independent attorneys. That's a good point. Very good point. Because if you think about it, look at Karen Reed, right? She hired the dream team to fight. So good point. All right. What am I doing here? You can see it. I need to pull it up here. Let me get to the right page. If I can find a page number. I will just scroll down till I see the 45. Oh. I think I told you guys before, this app is called Cami. You can open up PDFs in it and you can write on them, type on them, highlight. You can print out all the things that you write on it. 32. I want 32. Oh, this also has the exhibits listed. Okay, good. All right. right, and let's make it a little bigger. Can you guys see it? I don't know if you can read it, but at least you can see that I am reading it and follow along. Wait, this isn't the right one. Let me see. Hold on. This isn't matching what I have in front of me. Oh, wait. Yes, it is. Okay. I got it. All right. On November 13th, 2022, again, this is Talbot. At about 12:22 p.m., MPD requested ISP District 2 investigators to assist with multiple homicides at 1122 King Road, Moscow, Latah County, Idaho. At about 12:34 p.m., ISP Sergeant Darren Gilbertson advised me of the request. I was assigned as the ISP lead crime scene investigator. So ISP is Talbot, lead investigator. At about 2:41 p.m., I arrived on the scene right here. Oh, let me highlight. It's not letting me. What are we doing? There we go. I arrived on the scene. Already on scene were MPD Captain Roger Lanier, MPD Sergeant Dustin Blaker, Detective Payne, and multiple other MPD officers providing scene security. Okay. 2:41. Do you guys think that's the accurate time that Payne was there? Isn't he back at the police station doing interviews? I'm not sure about that. At about noon, MPD was dispatched to an unconscious person inside the residence. When they arrived, 2 household occupants identified as blank and blank, along with 2 other females and 1 male, 2 other females and 1 male, were outside the residence. The male, identified as blank, stated when he had entered the house, he grabbed a knife from the kitchen and cleared the first and second floors. Well, that's a little different description. And then placed the knife on a table inside the living room. When officers entered the house, they found 2 deceased residents, Kernodle and Chapin, inside a bedroom on the 2nd floor. The officers also found 2 more deceased residents. So this says Hunter went straight for the knife first instead of going into the room first. When officers entered the house, they found 2 deceased residents, 2 more residents, Gonsalves and Mogan, in a bedroom on the 3rd floor. All the victims appeared to have multiple stab wounds. The sliding glass door located in the kitchen, 2nd floor, rear of house, was open. And there was a set of footprints in the melting snow leading into and away from the residence. There was 1 shoe print near the western edge of the property leading west into a neighbor's yard. In front of the residence were 5 vehicles belonging to the deceased residents. Sometime in the early morning hours, Blank was awoken and opened her room door. Sometime in the early morning hours, Dylan was awoken and opened her room door. What could be here? This isn't a name. This is not a name. And this is what we're talking about with redactions. What do you guys think that is? Sometime, this is like playing that game. What's that game where you have to fill in the blanks with verbs and nouns? Mad Libs. We're doing Idaho Mad Libs, you guys. Idaho Mad Libs. sometime in the early morning hours, Dylan was awoken and opened her room door and heard a male say, "It's okay, Kaylee, I'm here for you." What could be there? Opened her room door slightly, all the way, and opened her room door. Why would you redact that? Mad Libs, Idaho Mad Libs. This is what I was telling Carlos about. I said, with the redactions, and this is a perfect example. Why is that redacted? It's not, I don't think it's a name. A name doesn't make sense there. All right, moving on. So, "It's okay, Kaylee, I'm here for you," and crying. She then shut her door. A short while later, she opened her door again and saw someone approximately 5'10" tall, dressed in all black with a ski mask, standing in the kitchen. What? She made eye contact with the person and could see they were Caucasian through the cutouts for the eyes. She shut her door again and texted Bethany, whose bedroom is on the first floor, told her to join her in her room. And Dylan ran down the stairs to Bethany's room, where they fell asleep, you guys. They fell asleep. How do they get this information to put in their reports when we watch the interviews and that's not what these kids say? I call them kids. Sorry. How does this happen? Rhetorical question, of course. At about 5 p.m., after a search warrant was signed, Sergeant Blaker, Detective Payne, Latah County Prosecuting Attorney Bill Thompson, Ashley Jennings, and I entered the scene and conducted a walkthrough. As we entered the front north-facing first floor door, I observed the following. Okay, I did Google this, and it is typical for prosecutors to go to the scene of a big crime, of any crime. They can go anytime, but it's typical for them to go to the crime scene. As you entered the residence from the front door. Now, the thing I don't like about this is that it's at 5 p.m. and I don't think the scene has been cleared yet. Right? As you entered the residence from the front door, there is a bathroom in front of you. In front of you? That the bathroom's to the right. The bathroom's to the right. There is a bedroom to the right. Oh, okay. It appeared to be unlived in. To the left was a staircase to the second floor and a small hall. I thought the stairs were right in front of you. Are the stairs right in front of you? Hey, Dago. The stairs are either right in front of you or to the left when you open the door, right? Oops. There we go. To the left was a staircase, yeah, to the second floor and a small hallway. As you walk east down the hallway, a small mechanical room was to the right. We know that. The hallway ended in a bedroom. So if this is Bethany, this is a weird way to write a sentence. The hallway ended in a bedroom, Bethany. The hallway ended in a bedroom blank. So here's another redaction that doesn't make sense that it's a name. That doesn't make sense that would be a name. The hallway ended in a bedroom Bethany. Bethany's bed. Now, this makes sense. This one, Bethany's bedroom had clothing on the floor and the bed was disheveled. Her dresser against the north wall had a broken door and a drawer was partially opened. There didn't appear to be any blood inside the room. Okay, I'm going to see what you guys are talking about. Do you guys see what I'm saying about like these redactions and the whole funny Mad Lib comment? Usually it's a name and we can figure out who the name is, but they're redacting nouns. They're redacting information. I'm gonna keep circling these. I think Lana will need all this stuff for like evidence, right? Ay, ay, ay. As you go up the stairs to the second floor, you enter a small living room area. There was a folding table set up on the west side of the area, partially blocking the entry to the west hallway. Okay, there's been a lot of talk about that, how that table was positioned. So it's partially blocking the entry to the west hallway. Is that the hallway going towards Xana's room? The table had multiple red Solo cups on it in a game formation, along with a small steak knife. There were multiple areas of red liquid on the table that appeared to be blood. That's one of the items of evidence that I want to look at to be sure whose blood was that. As I walked west from the living room, there was a half wall to my right. I could see multiple drops, and this word's interesting, runs of red liquid along the entire half wall. So when Carlos and I talk about this, from what he's hearing on social media and from what I've heard this mostly described as like a small sample, like, you know, a touch, maybe like more of like a fingerprint or a smudge or something like that. This is describing it differently to me. Multiple drops and runs of red liquid. So I'm going to point this out to Carlos because that does not seem like something that's been there for weeks and weeks. You guys agree with that? Definitely tells a story and it's not a sleeping one. Agree. The entire case is redacted. We can fight through the redactions for the most part. Like, as I've been reading them, if I can't figure out what the word is, we can at least figure out what kind of a word it is. Now, like I just pointed out a few minutes ago, what would make you use context clues, right? Like what would make sense? But it still doesn't tell us the information. All right. Across the half wall north, I saw more red stains on the wall above the first and second floor staircase. So I think this is that big blue Amido black drippings that we see in the photos. I think I have not seen a photo where they take a picture straight on of that wall. Have you guys seen a photo straight on of that wall? I feel like it was just photos of like, they're taking a picture up the steps and like caught the side of the wall. And you can just see like the blue Amido black dripping down. Let me know if I can find a head-on shot of that. The stains and liquid were consistent with cast off and appeared to be blood. Continuing west down the hallway, there was a bathroom to the left. So that's Xana's bathroom with the hallway ending at a bedroom. On the north wall of the hallway, near the bedroom door, there appeared to be a red colored transfer mark at approximately my shoulder height. Okay, so see, that's describing it differently, like a smudge. I just want to know that all of these were tested, right? All of these were tested, and what did they find out? Drippings with just looking at your comments real quick. Over redacted for sure. Hi, Jeff H. Yeah, it's curious. From the living room, looking into the west bedroom, I could see a female, Kernodle, lying near the center of the room. Her legs and arms appeared to be covered in blood. Okay, legs and arms appeared to be covered in blood. I was just listening to a booking with B. Is that Bookings with B? Is that the channel name? And she was talking about Dylan and how she described what she did that night. And I believe Bookings with B was saying that Dylan described Xana's legs towards the door. Seeing her in underwear. So if you can see her underwear, I think this was her point. If you can see her underwear, you can see her legs. And her legs and arms are covered in blood, and all the lights were on in the house. So just keep that in mind. All the lights are in the house. You're running down to Bethany's room. You look and see Xana in her underwear. So you're clearly seeing her legs and arms, and they're covered in blood. As I entered the bedroom, I saw multiple drops of red liquid near the entrance and multiple red. Oh, near the entrance? Near the entrance, before Xana's body. And multiple red colored drips on the floor above and below the doorknob. Okay. So that's more doorknob. A male was laying in the bed. Chapin was laying in the bed, partially covered by a blanket and a comforter. His neck and chest were heavily covered in a red liquid. Multiple walls appeared to have red colored cast off, and there were multiple areas on the floor with pools of red colored liquid. Xana's room, in my opinion, had the most pools of blood, in my opinion, that I saw in the photos. All the red colored liquids appeared to be blood. Kernodle appeared to have multiple cuts to her hands, arms, and face. That just sounds like a brutal fight she must have been in. Chapin appeared to have a deep cut to the outer portion of his right knee. I made this comment in someone's live last night. We were talking about someone was talking about one of the investigators making a public statement. I think it was after the sentencing hearing, and saying that was it you, Lucy? If Lucy's in here, someone said that this detective said Ethan's wounds were to immobilize him. Okay. And then here it's described his knee, a deep cut to the outer portion of his right knee and neck area. I mean, that's not describing carvings on his legs. Why do we have to have these discrepancies? Do they have the medical examiner's report? Because we haven't seen the medical examiner's report. And they have so many discrepancies. Let me see. What does it say? We know at least 2 knives. Yeah. A defense examiner was going to testify 2 different weapons. I would think you would be able to prove that if you could get your hands on the medical examiners. And speaking of the redactions in here, Why are you redacting the medical examiner's name? Like, her name is literally redacted in these documents. Same thing with the evidence custodian. Why are you redacting the evidence custodian's name? What was Dateline Leakers? Which statement? Hi, James. Did you wake up late today, James? I don't blame you. You guys are up to like early in the morning. All right, going on. On a desk against the north wall of the bedroom was Kernodle's University of Idaho identification with a rolled up $2 bill and a blank consistent with a blank. All right, so we know that's the blue powder consistent with a like the only word I can think of is like a barbiturate or a drug, something like that. Isn't it interesting that it's a $2 bill? Those are not common. So that's probably what the purpose of that was. Always using that for that purpose. Exiting the bedroom and walking east, there wasn't anything visible of interest in the bathroom. And I kind of find that interesting because remember the rumors early on that someone heard like water running? Do you guys remember that? Dago, if you're still in here, remember the water running? Back in the day, like way at the beginning, and I thought, oh, someone cleaned up in that bathroom. They cleaned up. They took a shower, Yeah. But there's nothing. There's no blood in that bathroom. And so that would be the first thing I would think, like trace evidence if someone washed up in there. But then once we found out Dylan heard someone say, "It's okay, I'm here to help you," and crying in the bathroom, I'm like, was someone getting attacked in the bathroom? And I'm imagining another perpetrator coming in and saying, "I'm going to help you," right? Because there's a big fight going on. Water running, tables moving, naked guy, right, Christy? The original rumors. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to ask you guys in chat. I guess I don't need to ask. I know the evidence. I was going to ask, why do we think there's evidence of a cleanup? But it's because there's photos of white walls that you can't see blood with the naked eye, but then we see Amito black on those areas. Is that why we're saying evidence of a cleanup? Is there another reason? Let me know in the chat if there's another reason why we say evidence of a cleanup. Like, is it stated in a document somewhere? I know Ann Taylor said it. I can hear my neighbors shoveling outside. Dago, did you get snow? We've probably got about 4 inches right now. All right. Outside the bathroom door, there appeared to be small drops of red liquid near the baseboard. Dago, I think you were pointing those out when you were looking at the photos. A small smear of a red colored liquid on the south wall and a hair stuck to the wall. I do know that I saw a picture of a hair in the forensic documents. South out of the living room was a small step down and a bedroom immediately to the left. South out of the living room was a small step down and a bedroom. Okay, so that's Dylan's bedroom. South was a staircase to the 3rd floor and a small storage area under the stairs. To the right was the kitchen. Blank room, so I think this is Dylan's room, was messy with multiple items of clothing on the floor and a notebook in disarray on the floor near her desk along the north wall. Her bed was unmade and her U of I identification was on the floor near the south wall under her makeup desk. There was no apparent blood inside her room. apparent blood. James, you weren't the naked man. Hi, Kathy. Which file are you talking about? Judge Hippler refuses to unseal the file. Let me see if I can scroll up. PCA suggests crime continued until 4:25. Yes. But the car leaves before that. Yes. 6 to 7. Oh, it went to PA. The snow went there. Yeah. Oh, wow, Dago, you got a lot of snow. Tony, naked man is not getting his deserved recognition. You have to laugh. You have to laugh about these, the craziness. All right. So the storage closet was tidy with nothing of interest noted. The kitchen counters were cluttered with dirty dishes, orange containers, and a fast food bag from Jack in the Box labeled Xana near the sink. So do you guys think if like digital, we're waiting for digital evidence to come out, right? Like cell data, reports from, what I'm getting at is like the order to prove from the victims' phones, did Xana or Ethan order the DoorDash? Do you think that's something? I don't see, they shouldn't redact that because it's pertaining to the victims and it's pertaining to a major event involved in this crime with the DoorDash delivery. So we should get to see that. The sliding glass door was just over halfway opened. On the outside of the window on the south wall were two handprints and a possible face print on the glass. That's crazy. There were also red colored drips on the north side cabinets near the sink. Did you guys see Amido black on the cabinets? I don't remember seeing. I saw the Amido black on the counter in the kitchen. I didn't see photos of Amido black on the, and it says upper cabinet, right? North side cabinets near the sink. Oh no, maybe, I don't think there are any. North side cabinets near the sink. And a red colored liquid drop on the floor. Is that what's covered by the paper towel, do you think? Have you guys seen a photo of that area on the floor without the, is it a paper towel? It's something white that's covering that drop. Yes, it was dripping down. Yes, Jeff. Amido black dripping down the kitchen cabinets next to the refrigerator. Okay. Carlos and I watched, I'm sure you guys have probably seen videos of this too. We looked up how you do the Amido black testing, and the process that we saw was you spray the Amido black, and then there were three. Yeah, you spray the Amido black and you let it like develop, and it's going to drip. It's going to drip down if it's on a vertical surface, or it's going to run. Then they have like a setting spray that they spray over top, and then that's supposed to enhance if there's any like fingerprints or whatever made the blood mark, if it's not just like dripping blood. Okay, it's supposed to enhance and make clearer outlines of what you're seeing with the blood. So spray 1 is the Amido black, spray 2 is the enhancer. Then once that's developed and it's set, they called it like a setting spray. Then they're supposed to spray it with water and rinse away all the extra amido black so that you can see exactly what you're looking at. When I go back and look at those kitchen photos, it doesn't look like they rinsed away the extra, so I can't really tell what they were focusing on there. It would be interesting to I know there's a darker, like actually on the counter next to the sink, there's like a dark area. I don't know. But I do not remember seeing anything on the cabinets. The runoff that's on the cabinets is below the sink and it's coming off the counter. Something I need to go back and look at. Hi, Bubbly. It's so good to see you. I love your channel. Let's see. You're on a short string. Aw. You guys are awesome. Okay. As I walked south, wait a minute, where did I leave off at? Red colored liquid drop on the floor. Okay, so I mean, I don't know. This is different than what I feel like I saw in the photos. And I think that's covered up. That's what I was asking you guys. Is this red liquid drop on the floor? Like, why is there that white thing in the middle of the kitchen floor? It's a piece of paper or a paper towel or something. Like, that's definitely contaminating something. As I walked south up the stairs, they switched back to the north. Okay, this I thought was interesting too. So it's almost like this guy is tracking blood marks. Okay, he's tracking the blood marks. And he's saying, as I walk from the kitchen towards the stairs, the blood marks switch from the south. Is that what he said? The south? Yep. On the south wall. No, that's the glass. North side. But then it says, as I walked south up the stairs, what's they? They switched back to the north. I think he's following blood smears. On the center wall banister were red colored liquid smears. See, he's tracking these smears. So they went from, if it says they switched back to the north, I would think there would be some on the south. It'd be interesting to go back and look at the pictures and see. They appeared to be blood smears. At the top of the stairs was a small hallway. Directly to the left was Kaylee's bedroom. The bedroom was clean with the bed unmade, not made, unmade, and a black, you guys, a black colored coat laying on the ground next to the bed on the left side. Why have I been looking for Maddie's coat this whole time? Do you think that was Maddie's coat? A black coat. I'm looking at your comments. Sorry, that's why I'm quiet. I'm reading your comments. You guys are just talking to each other. Yeah, Dago. I mean, so we talk about coincidences all the time and odds and probabilities and things like that. So what are the odds? I really thought Maddie's coat was on the hydrant. I thought Maddie's coat was on the hydrant. And then I was confused because in it was either one of the document, I think it's in a document they said they called the coat on the hydrant a vest. Oh, when we saw that in body cam, we saw them pick it up off the hydrant. It was a coat, it wasn't a vest, and they threw it on the floor. Thought that was Maddie's. Now, when I read this document the other day, this is the first time I have heard this or read this. A black colored coat laying on the ground next to the bed on the left side when looking at the foot of the bed. So I can imagine the girls come home from the grub truck. They go upstairs to Kaylee's bedroom, and, Kaylee didn't have a coat on. She just had her sweatshirt on. Maddie's gonna, kick that coat off and just probably throw it there in Kaylee's room. I think that makes sense. Is this a new doc? No, this is in the ISP. It's 32. 32. So I love this. Well, I can't say I love. This description of Kaylee's bedroom is very interesting because it's different what we have been told, right? Didn't Steve say that her bed was mostly made, like maybe just a corner, like turned down? So this says the bed is unmade and a black colored coat laying on the ground next to the bed on the left side. Partially behind the door on the north wall was a wire dog kennel. So they had a kennel in there for Murphy. There didn't appear to be any blood inside the room. Because I always wondered about that. Murphy could have easily been put in the kennel, not just locked in the room. So Murphy could be in a kennel and the door, remember, all the doors are open. All the doors are open. Bedroom doors. And we kept thinking, well, how could you leave the door open and Murphy not go into the room where Maddie and Kaylee are? Well, he's in a kennel. He's either in a kennel or out on the deck, right? Hey, Kane. Good to see ya. Rise and shine. And Dago and I were looking at the pictures. Dago and I and the whole chat on his channel were checking out the photos of the balcony and outside Kaylee's room. And there were definitely footprints, paw prints in the snow out there. So Murphy definitely spent time on that balcony. All right. On the right side, east of the hallway, it ended with a bathroom. To the south of the bathroom was a small bedroom, Mogan's. There didn't appear to be anything of interest in the bathroom. As I entered the bedroom, there was a bed directly to the left. On the bed were Gonsalves and Mogan. They were covered by a beige-colored comforter with a large pool of red liquid near the center of the comforter. Multiple walls and the ceiling had multiple areas of red-colored cast-off. Did we see pictures of the ceiling? Did we see pictures of the ceiling? I know we saw the walls. Yeah, poor Murphy. Interesting. Multiple walls and the ceiling had multiple areas of red colored cast off. There wasn't as much as I was expecting to see on the walls, especially if Kaylee was propped up against the wall. Mogan had multiple visible cuts on her face. Gonsalves had severe trauma to her face and visible cuts with large amount of dried red colored liquid on her face. There appeared to be, this is disgusting. Poor Kaylee. If there's aspirated blood coming from her mouth, then, these injuries happened. She suffered through some of them. That's just heartbreaking. Near Mogan's, which to me, there were injuries before the deadly the assault that ended her life. Near Mogan's left hip. Okay, so I mean, we've heard leg, hip, left side, right side, was a tan-colored leather sheath partially covered by a comforter. So here's another person saying that they saw it. And I don't know if this is the guy. So he's saying left side. I did find 2 documents where there was discrepancies. Someone said left, someone said right. On the door edge, I saw multiple red-colored transfer smears. The upper mark was at approximately my shoulder height. I wonder how tall this guy is. All the red-colored liquids in the room were consistent with blood. They definitely have enough smear marks and blood transfer marks in this house from the 3rd floor, the living room area, Xana's room, to I don't know where to, at least to investigate, were there multiple weapons, multiple perpetrators. That's why I'm diving into the DNA on all these items. Let's see, Jeff, what are you the only one that thinks? To Kaylee, justify the viciousness of Olivia's victim impact statement. Yeah. Look, I'm not going to. I thought what Olivia said at the victim impact statements was fire. So totally justified. He's the guilty person. You're at the sentencing hearing. That's what you're supposed to do. Two things can be true at the same time. Those grieving families can get up there and say what they want to say. And, people can also think that it's directed at the wrong person if they have the wrong person. But at that moment when you have the person accepting the plea deal, I mean, I'm not going to say anything about that. Okay, so now we are at, where did I leave off at? We're at 5:24 p.m. now. So that's like 24 minutes for him to walk through the house. I assigned Detective Jake Schwecke. That reminds me of that Saturday Night Live. The sweater. You guys know what I'm talking about. Oh my God. To start a pre-evidence processed video. So he walks through the house, and now he's telling this guy, start videoing everything before we start collecting evidence, right? I directed ISP Detective Gideon Roberts to start scene overview photographs. So now they're going to start taking pictures and they're videoing. I directed ISP Detective Hugh Powell to complete a scene sketch. Have we seen a sketch? Like, I've seen some drawings of the rooms, but that's not the scene sketch. I don't think they've released this to us yet. After the vehicles were videoed and photographed, I directed ISP Sergeant Darren Gilbertson to search them. Okay. We've seen all the photos of the cars, right? Nothing was seized as evidence from the victims' cars. That's interesting. I know in one of my old lives, I forget what the title was. I did a live where I was I was kind of talking with the chat, trying to use all of your brains to help me understand other apartment locations to the house and things like that. And I pulled up some photos, and one of the photos I pulled up were the cars in the driveway and Ethan's Jeep. And on the ground next to Ethan's Jeep was like this. And Lucy, if you're still in here, you'll remember this. It was like this silver, it looked like crumpled packaging. It looked like crumpled packaging, but silver. But then there was also a rectangular object on the ground, and we were blowing it up and trying to look and see what it could have been. I haven't seen anything like that they took that into evidence. Right, meow. What are you guys talking about? Minors as victims. These were adult victims. Oh, okay. All right. Now we're at 6:30 p.m. I started 3D scans of Kernodle and Mogen's rooms. That's normal. At about 7:05 p.m., Detective Powell, Detective Schwecke, and I started marking the evidence with numbered placards. Do you guys think there were enough of these? Well, let's see. They're going to label them right here. All right, we'll see. I'll answer my own question. So they're putting the numbers, and then Detective Roberts is photographing them. All right, here's what we got. The shoe print casting near the fence line. The prints on the windows, the sliding door. All right, so we got all that. We've got A through R. A latent print from the front door exterior lock. I know about the sliding door prints, but I didn't know about the front door exterior lock. All right, Kernodle. Gray colored iPhone, pink colored laptop, Chapin, iPhone, laptop, iPhone, K-bar sheath. It's Exhibit N. So I guess there's exhibit names, and then they give it a different name when they're doing the DNA. Mogen Gonsalves, a white colored blanket. Exhibit Q, and a tan colored comforter. So they took the comforter and they took the blanket. I'm telling you, I'm looking for these items because I want to see for sure what all was tested. All right, and then for anybody that was doubting about the when the bodies were taken, it's right here. Right here. I know it's in another report too. At about 8:15 p.m., Shorts Funeral Home. So there's the name of the funeral home. Shorts Funeral Home. Along with the coroner, Kathy Mabbitt, and assistant. Oh, they have an assistant coroner? What's an assistant LCC? Latah County Coroner, Assistant Latah County Coroner Debbie Karscallon. There's a new name, I think. Debbie Karscallon. They arrived on the scene to remove the bodies. Before moving the bodies, Sergeant Gilbertson and I put paper bags over all 4 victims' hands, along with Kernodle's left foot. Isn't that interesting? What's the deal with her left foot? For the preservation of evidence during the autopsies. Do you think she stepped in something somewhere else? Could that be transfer of something from Kernodle? Welcome everybody that's joining in. It is so great to see everybody. Hi, Mittens for Kittens. All right. So I don't know. That's interesting to me. I don't know what you guys are saying. What's the matter, Coco? With somebody? Yeah, I know. All right. Exhibit 19, a blue colored iPhone located under the head of Gonsalves. Okay. That's probably hers that they had a hard time getting into. And the jewel vape pen located on her bed. A latent print collected from the doorknob. When they say west bedroom, is that Dylan's bedroom, you guys? Look at this. When they say floor 2 west bedroom, is that Xana's or Dylan's? I thought they were calling Dylan's room the west bedroom. So my point is, if the west bedroom is Dylan's, then they took blood from Dylan's doorknob. Or that's Xana's room. So I need to find that out. All right. Then we've got, so I went through and highlighted this green part because I wanted to know that they took that steak knife. So they did take the steak knife and it's exhibit V. Okay. And then they've got all the blood swabs. So let's see. Let's count how many. So the north wall above the floor. Above floor 1 and 2 staircase. They took 2 swabs from that. The half wall. So there's 2 of those. Here's the big one. AA, I believe, is that big blue amido black stain right above the staircase. Right there. BB, the blood swab collected from the north wall of hallway near the west bedroom entrance. North wall of hallway. Again, if this is Dylan's bedroom, there's blood on the north wall of the hallway. So remember when he was describing his walkthrough, he's tracking the blood on the walls. Exhibit 29. West bedroom light switch. Now I'm thinking this is Xana's room. This must be Xana's room. West bedroom light switch. Blood above the bed. Yeah, this is Xana's room. Okay, so the west bedroom is Xana's bedroom. The nightstand. On the mirror. The leg of a desk. The exterior of her door. On the wall. The folding table in the living room. Okay, that's going to go with the knife, near the knife. Okay, they did take a swab from the kitchen floor. Whoops, I can't do that color. Where are we at? Kitchen floor. I haven't heard anybody talk about that. Who was bleeding in the kitchen? Do we know? Then we've got floor 2 and 3 stairwell. The exterior of Maddie's door, above the bed, the bed and nightstand, closet entrance of floor 3 in Maddie's bedroom. So on the floor in front of her closet, the floor near the foot of her bed. So someone was asking me about this the other day, like if I thought that there would be footprints, more bloody footprints throughout the house. And I was saying only if there were these pools of blood on the floor, if the perpetrators could be so careful to not step in any of that. You know, that's possible. But if there's a struggle, like there's obviously signs of a struggle with the defensive wounds, you would imagine the perpetrators losing their balance. They're going to be more focused on the victim than they are of their surroundings, of where they're standing. They might lose their footing. They're going to step in some of this stuff. Now, at first, I thought all of the blood would be located and absorbed into the comforter, the mattress, the pillows. And if there wasn't a lot on the floors, then there wouldn't be tracking through the house. But now this document is showing we're in Maddie's room. Exhibit where were we at? Exhibit UU was collected from the floor near the foot of her bed. That's a tiny room. Like the entrance to her room is at the foot of the bed, right? It just makes it more likely that someone would have a chance to step in it, is what I'm saying. You can let me know if you agree with that or not. And then on the upper door of her room. So how is this blood getting all over the house, you guys? Molly saw a blonde guy with spiky hair. Yeah. Yeah, I saw Leah's story, said she was going to be listening for a while. So if you guys don't see comments from her, she might be driving or something, right? Cop cam. Yeah, Tony, now that we've gone through all this, it always gives us new perspective of or a target of what we're really looking for when you can go back and look at the body cams and look at the interviews and things like that, because we saw this written in the document. So now let's go back and verify it in those other things. Yeah. I'm picking on you, Jeff. We're picking on you. There were didn't someone associated with the police say that? Like that he planted the blood? I did literally hear somebody say that, you guys, and it wasn't Jeff H. Someone said, oh, Brian could have brought blood with him and, planted it. It's just interesting that, okay, there's blood throughout the house. So it's coming from Maddie's room and it's coming from Xana's room. But Brian has nothing on him, nothing in the car. They weren't killed quietly in their sleep because there's defensive rooms, defensive wounds, and yeah, I'm gonna dive into that. I'm just gonna dive in. It's making me think. All right, the disposable camera, a blue laptop, a pink laptop, a silver laptop. So you guys, I didn't know the disposable camera was in the living room. Did you guys know it was in? I thought it was in Kaylee's closet. The disposable camera was in the living room. Ooh, can we see the pictures from that? That would be interesting. So a laptop was in Maddie's room, a laptop was in Xana's room, 2 laptops in Xana's room. A blue colored latex gloves with an S, located in the trash can of floor 2 bathroom. Do you think that those girls are using latex gloves on a daily basis in that house? I mean, I guess if you were cleaning the toilet and you threw some on, and it could be that. So maybe it's just Xana's, cleaning DNA on there. It said gloves with an S. Here, I'll make it bigger. Can I make it bigger? Right here. Let me do blue. I'm going to do blue. Oh, wait, I'm not on highlighter. Let me get on highlighter. Highlighter? Blue. Blue colored latex gloves located in trash can of floor 2 bathroom. To dye your hair, yeah. I just use the ones that come. Well, I use a kit, so I guess if you buy your own hair dyeing supplies, yeah, you would have to get your own gloves. Yeah, there are innocent reasons why these gloves could be in the trash. I understand that. I completely understand that. I do not remember this being talked about a lot. So I want to see what they found out on those gloves. All right. And there were 3 laptops in Xana's room, right? West, let's see. A pink one, a silver one, and a gray one. 3 laptops in Xana's room. That seems like a lot. What do you guys think about that? 3 laptops in Xana's room. Right, exactly. I think the key point about these blue gloves is whose blood was on them. Was there blood on them? What did they test them for? What did they find on them? You love latex gloves. All right. How many more pages? Is this the last? Yeah, this is the last little part of this. A black iPad in Maddie's room. So black iPad in Maddie's room. They had a lot of digital devices. Okay. So now we're at 11:44 p.m. And I directed Detective Roberts and Detective Schwecke to do post-search photographs and videos. All right, so now that they've got everything labeled and marked and everything, there should be photos of that. Okay, then the next day at 12:10, now we're at, okay, it's still the same night, but past midnight at 12:10 a.m., all the evidence collected was turned over to Detective Payne. The windows and doors to the residence were sealed by MPD. 12:18, ISP personnel left the scene. So what time did they say they got there? 5, 7. It took them 7 hours to do all that. I guess. MPD remained on the scene outside the house. I entered the scene videos and photographs into evidence and gave copies to MPD. All right. There were some nuggets in there. Okay. I have been on for 2 hours. And my goal, it's going to be longer than this episode, is to continue going through the forensic reports now. So go through the forensic reports. I'm going to pick one item. Let me pick one. Should I do the blue gloves? Let me see. The blue gloves. Let me see if I can find them. Before I start looking for that, I don't know if I have this screenshot, but let me show you guys. Do you guys see this piece of paper? This paper is from the forensic reports. So the DNA and fingerprinting reports. And this is, I believe it's way down in the thousands. Maybe I don't remember what page number it is. It is, let me see. Page. I need like a microscope to read these things, you guys. I don't know. But it is ISP's crime scene response briefing notes by Talbot. So Talbot wrote this. Okay. So here's his briefing notes. I'm going to use my magnifying glass. I'm going to use, wait, I have one of those apps that you can there we go. You can blow up the text. Don't laugh at me, you guys. Don't laugh at me. Yeah, drop your links in the chat, you guys. Drop your links. Okay, this is Talbot. And he said, wait a minute. Briefed by Talbot. I can't make out a date. And it says investigative information, 29 to 30 DNA swabs collected. All right. 29 to 30 DNA swabs collected. This says entry / exit. Okay. Wearing gloves? Question mark. No prints. I think these are his thoughts. Like he's asking if the perpetrators were wearing gloves. Two main areas. No real transfer between. What? No real transfer between the two main scenes of the crime. Photos done. I think this is a number. I know I look ridiculous doing this. I'm sorry. I can't make that out. 900? 1,000? 900? Something like that. I can't read it. Before and during movement and victims, pre-post videos collected. They did 3D scans. Listen to this. Second scene torn apart. Transfer may be due to detective. What's the second scene? Tri-level tube, and now he's describing the house. It's a tri-level house, 2-bedroom and bath. Wait a minute. 2-bed and bath. each floor, kitchen, living room in the middle. So he's describing it. All right. The scene is still locked down with officer posted. Talbot showed us sketches of scene and photos from scene, explaining what they did on scene. No serious search. This is handwritten, you guys. It's not typed. It's handwritten. Away from the scene for blood trail. So no serious search away from scene for blood trail. They did do that later though, right? Like the next day or something. I don't know. Staining chemicals approved by Talbot. Now, here's what I thought was interesting. This is the highlighted part on here. So it says types of evidence included in the search warrant. So remember, they were waiting for the search warrant. So here's what they put for their evidence for the search warrant. DNA, blood, saliva, semen, hair, other bodily fluids or items that may bear DNA. Latent prints, of course. Firearms and firearms related. They check that off. Blunt weapons, sharp-edged weapons, electronics, anything indicia of ownership, drugs and paraphernalia. You know what they did not check off? Oh, wait, there's one more. Trace evidence like hair, fiber, drawings. Okay. They did not check clothing. They did not check tire impressions, and they did not check footwear impressions. Even though they found those things, right? They already saw those things right away. Like that was like almost immediately. So I just thought it was interesting. This is Talbot's handwritten crime scene response briefing notes. I forgot I had that one in there. Let me see. What are you guys talking about? A secret room next to Bethany's. I think there's something up with that room. That one that was locked. Who locks a room with your heater in it with some coded lock? There's something going on with that, in my opinion. That's one of my, I don't have too many like real big conspiracy thoughts. But that one's weird. That one's weird to me. I couldn't imagine living in a house that had a lock like that and not know it. Whoops. Bubbly, are you talking about the locked room, the coded locked room? You have every angle of it and it just looks like a normal room? I know, I think Dago said, yeah. Well, I don't know. Isn't that weird? I mean, it's a space. There's some space in there, right? It doesn't mean there needs to be like a secret hidden room in there. It could just be, hey, I open this door and there's only like a water heater and, sub pump or whatever else they have in there. But there's space on the floor. You could put a box in there. You could put stuff in there. So I still think it's weird to have a lock on there. Oh, a HVAC friend. Okay. I'll be interested in that. I will be interested in that. All right. I said I was looking for blue gloves. Let's see. All right. So I've been maneuvering those forensic documents for a while, and they don't put, I don't know, they don't put everything together. So what I did realize, and someone talked about this, I can't remember who I was watching. Someone did mention this, that they have the reports, and it'll say, report 1, and they're usually about 2 pages. And then in between these reports is all the oh my gosh, the data and the description of what was tested. And then further down the road, you'll see the results. I don't like the way it's organized. It's hard to find, but this is report 1. Report 1 is the sheath. Okay. Let me see if I can find the blue gloves. We'll just do that just for. Stairwell, finger, edge of wall. Nope. Got the penguin glove. That's the one they found outside. I know that's the one Audrey was talking about on her video. I don't have all of the reports printed out yet because I had to fight with my printer this morning. I'm not having luck with AirPrint printers. Nope. Okay, I don't have the blue gloves. I'm going to go back to what I originally wanted to do today and talk about the sheath 1.1. Okay. Results from presumptive chemical tests performed on item 1 indicated the presence of blood. Item 1 was swabbed for DNA collection. Let me pull this up for you guys because it's right at the beginning. Oh, wrong thing. Open with, taking me a minute to open. Hello, Donna. Good to see you. Vibrations from Mirror. Oh, that's a new name. Welcome. Good to see you here. Oh, no. Oh, tunnels. Back to the tunnels. While we're paused for a second, if you wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up for me. All right, we're going to share this tab. So this document here also has all the items and what they are. And I'm going to get to report 1. Is this it? No. Okay, so these pages 17 to 20 something are all the evidence, collected evidence. Sorry if the scrolling bothers you. And we scroll until we get to report 1. These things are very chopped up. I feel like they put the same information about the victims on almost every page. Let me see if I can go a little bit more. Chain of custody. Don't want chain of custody. They do have pages of that, though, chain of custody. So I think it's above this. This is all the Q1 stuff. Like, Carlos made a good comment, like, because I kept saying, is the cell data going to be released? And he's like, well, they're not going to show us the actual, like, data reports. And I said, well, they showed it for the DNA. Like, there's data here, right? I don't know how to read this. Audrey seems like she's doing a good job reading it and making sense of it. If you guys haven't watched, what is she called now? Glitch DNA Labs, I think is the name of her channel. Glitch DNA Labs. Oh, see, now I went too far. See, they put all these photos in between. When I print these off, I need to label them with the number. I apologize, you guys. Frustrating. That's why I was just going to read it. But I wanted to show you too. All right, there's report 2. Let me write that down. 238. Report 2 starts on page 238, you guys. And then we're almost there. Where's report 1? All the photos of the sheath. Okay, right here. Here we go. Nope, wrong tab. All right, so we've got 1.1 to 1.4. 1.1 is the front strap. 1.2, the edges on the handle portion. 1.3 is the edges on the blade portion. And then 1.4 is the stains on the back. Here's their conclusions. Results from presumptive chemical tests performed on item 1 indicated the presence of blood. So there is blood on the sheath. Okay. Item 1 was swabbed for DNA collection. Trace evidence was collected from item 1, but was not examined at this time. Okay, why? Why? What if it was a hair? What if it was a hair? What if it was from the clothing that the perpetrator was wearing? Right? Known reference samples from Madison Mogan, Xander Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, and Kaylee Gonsalves are required, so they're going to compare it to the victims, of course. All right. So, disposition of the evidence. They were forwarded for DNA analysis. Results will follow in a separate report. So I'm going to have to go hunt down those reports. Item 1 was left in the custody of forensic scientist Tina Wallfall, pending latent fingerprint processing. So they did the fingerprint processing first. The empty packaging has been returned to the main laboratory evidence vault. Okay, now here's some notes, okay? Item, so the sheath was examined while in the custody of forensic scientist Tina Wallfall, and they describe it. They used bright light to examine obvious white residue on and near the threads, dark areas of discoloration in material, and very red-brown stains on the back. And we can see those in the photos. I'll make this bigger so you can see it. Maybe. Okay. Let's see. They tested 4 total stains on the back, and they were all positive for blood. They collected trace material onto adhesive of sticky notes. That's so crazy. That's so crazy to me. Like, you're in a you're in a you're in a scientific lab and you're collecting the evidence on like, do I have one? I usually have sticky notes all over the place because, teacher, but not in this room. So they took a sticky note, the sticky part of it that, came from a factory, went through packaging, isn't sanitized, and then they put the evidence on that instead of in some kind of clear, I don't know. Does that make sense to anybody? Okay, so they collected trace material onto adhesive of sticky notes, 3 on the back and 3 on the front strap. They packed it in a small manila envelope and left it in the custody of Walthall, however you say her last name. So to me, that looks like there's 6 pieces of trace evidence. What do you guys think about that? And to me, that would likely be material of what, because if your strap is tied to your belt loop, it's going to be rubbing against your clothing, right? Or if you have cloth seats in your car and the sheath was sitting on the seat of your car. What else, you guys? What else could the trace material come from? I used one swab to swab the front strap. I used one swab. All right. I used one swab. All right. Everything's collected. Everything's tested positive. I want to get to the results. Where's the results? Where's the results? If you guys know the page number of the results of the sheath, you can drop it in chat. This looks like all the data that who goes through it? Audrey's been going through, and she found a lot of issues with the process of developing the touch DNA. I'm sorry for the scrolling, but that's how this goes. Unless you know the name. Does anybody have we need a table of contents. That's what we need, you guys. We need a table of contents. Maybe I'll work on that. See, this is why I want to come back, because I want to be able to have, I think that's what I'm going to do. I want to be able to have all this documentation of what I'm looking for, like ready to go. I don't like sitting here, like scrolling in front of you and searching. And I might work on that table of contents. That'd be awesome. Maybe that's something I will put together and make available for my members. I'm trying to do little things for the members on my channel. I've been reading the Moscow documents straight through in groups of about 10 with no commentary. I'm just reading them, even though I'm biting my tongue off as I'm reading them because there's so much I want to say. But if you're a content creator in here and you're like, want the information that's in a certain Moscow police document and it's on my channel, please feel free to show it. That's fine. I'm taking notes as I go of the important information that's in those documents, and I have them on I use Google Slides a lot, just a habit from when I was a teacher. I did make that available if you are a member in here. I gave away some memberships. So welcome to new members that got my free memberships I gave earlier. And look in the members only, it's a post, and you can see those notes. And I'm adding to them because I'm not completely caught up. So they're not all there yet, but as I update them, you'll be able to see them. All right. So DNA. We have a clear list now from that report of some items that I need to double check. From that report to this forensic lab report, anything missing and what was tested. And I'm going to come back maybe tomorrow morning. I might do my morning walk and talk at 11. And then after my walk, come on live and be ready with these documents, either tomorrow or Thursday. We will see. But I'm going to continue this DNA journey. Carlos also challenged me to find a case, and I think I already have one lined up. So I've got some in my back pocket. But he wanted me to find a case where someone took a plea deal and then was later exonerated. And I know that I have one. I can't recall the name off the top of my head, but I'll be sharing that case with you soon so we can see how did that happen. That's what I'm interested in, is like, what are the possibilities if Brian isn't the perpetrator, if some of this evidence isn't accurate, and maybe things were done wrong. What's the process for getting to exoneration? It's not fast. I know that. And it's not easy. Most people don't get exonerated. They might get let out of jail, but they still have to carry the guilty verdict, even though they're out. Got his property taken away from him when he was falsely thrown in jail. I've heard of things like that happening. Thank you, Dago. I'm ending it. So I appreciate all you guys joining me today. The true crime community is fabulous. I appreciate all the support that I'm getting from everybody and everyone sharing their ideas with each other. I hope I was able to bring something to the table today, point out a few things that can get us looking a little closer, contribute a little bit. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Please hit that like button for me and subscribe if you haven't. I did see some new names in here that maybe you're just finding me for the first time. And I would love to have you as a subscriber, and also members. Consider joining. I just have like the lowest tier of membership. I'm never going to raise it. It's one tier, it just helps support the channel because it does take a lot of time, effort, equipment, things like that. So everything's always appreciated, and sending lots of love to you all. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you'll join me back next time. See you guys later. I got to get my outro. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching, hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Subscribe, it's free and keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew now, right where you belong. Join us next time, same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. That could be unique, yeah, that's you and me. Don't forget to like and hit subscribe, it's free. Come back again, we'll be right here with truth and laughs and zero fear. We don't always agree, but that's the show. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but that's the show. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. Thanks for watching, hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. It's free, it keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew, now right where you belong. Join us next time, same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife and proud to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. Yeah, that's you and me, that's you and me. Don't forget to like, hit subscribe, it's free. Come back again, we'll be right here with truth and laughs and zero fear.